So I just want to welcome you on the show, Amanda Cluette. Thanks so much for coming on. We've been working together for the better part of this year.
Yep.
And I really enjoy your products and your services, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to have a podcast episode, especially in the new space. And we're also leading into holiday season.
We are.
So it's kind of pretty good timing all around.
It's very good timing. Thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome. So we're probably just going to get into stuff that you're pretty accustomed to talking about. So it's going to be a lot about your business, about yourself. Maybe you don't talk about yourself that much, but we're going to get you to a little bit.
We'll see. So. Okay.
So just kind of first go around, just a little bit of background on you and kind of a little bit about the journey. So could you tell us a little bit about kind of Amanda prior to Black Bow Gifting Co. and the launch?
Yeah.
And kind of what were some of the stuff or things more so that you were doing, and maybe some of the experiences, personal or professional, that maybe led you to wanting to open your own business?
For sure. It's a big story, but I'll try and kind of like cut it down. I guess like growing up, I really kind of always had a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit and, you know, classic kid that's like doing the lemonade stands and wants to earn some extra money and ambitious enough to just make it happen. And you know, I grew up also with, you know, a lot of family members that owned businesses, more specifically like my dad, and just kind of didn't really see any other way of what employment kind of looked like. I saw like the grind, and it just, I think, became ingrained in my mind that that's like how you go out there and earn a living. You know, flash forward to kind of like university, I wanted to take business and, you know, kind of saw myself going in that direction. And then after, well, actually, maybe to take a step back, like in university, prior to that, I was working in my dad's business. It was my first job that I had.
What did your dad do?
He owns an insurance brokerage. So I was 15 years old or 16, and I remember I wanted to get a new paddle because I was an athlete, and so I wanted like the next level up paddle.
You did some paddling?
Sprint kayaking.
Sprint kayaking.
Yeah,
Is that the one where they're like on the one knee and
that's the canoe kind of version of it, but like the sprint version of kind of kayaking. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted kind of the more elite paddle, and he's like, well, you got to work for it. So he's like, get down to the office and do some filing. And so I was kind of the file gal in the summertime in between practices, and just saw how a business kind of operated, and just fell in love with it, because I think at that time I thought I was going to go to university and be a doctor, you know.
Okay. And that wasn't something that, you know, at least we're not that far apart in age, and I can definitely attest that was definitely pushed hard in my family, schools, everything growing up. It was like, you had to go to school, get a university degree, job, pension, salary,
no other
benefits.
Option.
Like, why? And, you know, I grew up lobster fishing. Like, dad's a lobster fisherman. It's like, oh, you don't want to do that. It's too hard.
Yeah.
You don't want to work with your hands. It's too stressful. It's like, well, you guys seem like you're living the good life.
Yeah.
Master of your own domain. Meanwhile, I got to go do all this work and then go work for somebody else. I just never sat right with me.
Interesting, because I think once I started working in the office, I was like, I'm going to work with my dad when I grow up. Like, I'm gonna come and take over the insurance business. And
I want to take over the boat.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, and I think my dad was encouraging, you know, like he liked, I think I was the only one of in our family that kind of was showing an interest in the business during those years. And because I've got older brothers, and that was kind of like the narrative I think that I built, that I was going to kind of go into business with my dad. I like getting to work with him. I loved it. You know, I learned so much from him, and he's the kind of person that, you know, if you show an interest in learning, he's going to teach you. So, you know, I was working in the file room, and, you know, I was at 16 years old, I was trying to make the file room more efficient and more organized. And, you know, I took it very seriously. And I remember I convinced him to invest in like buying these like colored files, which were a lot more expensive, but I was like, it's going to make sense because we can, color code it, and people can find files, and files won't get lost. And, you know, I also remember he had this like little desk for me, and it was like just a little computer desk, and it was like the only place for it was right outside of his office, so it looked like his little security guard, you know. And I like, by way of just where my desk was, I got to just kind of see a lot of what his daily work looked like, and I loved it. I wanted to. I saw myself in that environment. So I went to university. I took business. After I finished my undergrad degree, I kind of thought like, all right, I'm ready to come work in the business. And, you know, he was like, well, no, you got to go get some real experience now. And I was like,
oh, he didn't let you come right in the door.
no. And actually at that point he was like, he really kind of encouraged me to kind of move on and do a master's degree. So I thought, I wasn't really kind of interested in an MBA. I felt like I had a lot of like natural kind of like business
inclination.
Yeah, so I thought MBA wasn't really going to add a whole lot of value. So I decided to do a master's in economics, which I kind of laughed just because the thought process of that, I'm not so sure that I can kind of remember so clearly, but I remember thinking that I want to learn a lot about how the markets work and how the economy works. And, I wanted to build on like my analytical kind of like skill set and mindset. So I did a master's in economics. And then after that, it was like, okay, I'm ready. And then it was, no, you got to go work somewhere else. Like you can't have, and I did jobs and stuff in university, like working for the university and stuff. But, he really kind of encouraged me to just seek employment kind of elsewhere and then circle back at a later date. And so I landed myself in government, actually. And, with my master's in economics, it was kind of the only job that aligned with like that economic background that wasn't like in a bank. And so I really just fell into, a public, like the provincial government, public servant kind of role, and started out with very analytical jobs and, working on like redefining processes and programs in government, and just kind of eventually over the years became more involved in like leading large scale projects in government, and ended up getting my master's certificate in project management and my PMP certification, like to be a certified project manager. And so
you have a bunch of certifications.
And like just I'm a huge, like I love learning. Like I love when you have the time to learn, and then you're able to kind of have like that accreditation kind of behind it, like that demonstrates like I've put effort into really kind of learning this area. And kind of all throughout the years, because I spent kind of 10 plus years in government. It's funny, I always used to like conversations with colleagues and peers, like we would always talk about kind of our futures and our dreams. And I would always talk about how I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and I see myself running a business. And again, like during those years, I really kind of thought that it was going to be kind of back more towards working in the family business. And I almost kind of got sick of myself over the years talking about this fact that I was going to be an entrepreneur, but I was doing nothing to work towards becoming an entrepreneur.
Right.
So, I got 10 plus years into my government career. I loved the job that I had. I was working with some of the most incredible people that I've ever worked with in my entire career. Just smart individuals that were just capable of incredible change and great intentions with the work that they did, and like no complaints on that front. Like it was a really energetic, inspiring, hardworking kind of place to be. But I was really kind of getting sick of myself with this narrative that I had in my head that I was going to be an entrepreneur, and really wasn't doing anything to advance towards that. Now, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I thought you were ending there.
I was going to lead into the decision to start Black Bow Gift Co.
Yeah, I was just going to say, was kind of like the TSN turning point, or like the moment where you're like, you know what, I'm done talking about it. I'm going to do it now.
So it was like I kind of was getting into that space of like, I really was realizing that the insurance route wasn't for me. Yeah. It just wasn't something that I was super passionate about, and that I felt that I could get excited about every day, and that I was going to be able to create the kind of change that I think I just have that natural instinct in wanting to do. And
life's too short to not do what you enjoy, right?
100%. And, I ended up I was working probably over 12 hours a day. My kids were really small at the time, and I actually had a colleague that got really badly injured. And my instinct was to send this colleague something, to let them know that I was thinking of them, because it was a very serious injury, and I knew I wasn't going to see them for a while. And this was somebody I was seeing all day, every day for years.
While you're still in insurance?
No, while I was in government.
When in government?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't have time to go shopping. I considered myself kind of back then a bit of an over-the-top kind of gifter, like somebody who just put a lot of thought and intention into the gifts that I give. And I didn't have time to go shopping, and I went to look to the market to see what I was able to kind of find to send to this person, and I wasn't able to find anything that I felt really proud to give. And that, because this person had a high quality standard, and, I looked at kind of other gift basket businesses and, websites, and it just didn't look like quality. And I almost didn't send something to this individual because I felt a bit embarrassed about like what I was able to send in a short amount of time.
Right.
And it was just then that I had that light bulb moment go off, and I thought to myself, like, I see a gap in the market and I think that I can fill it really, really well. And it was kind of crazy how it happened, because, I'd spent years brainstorming business ideas and just nothing felt like it was sticking or that I was going to be able to do it really, really well or be really passionate about. And yeah, I had that light bulb moment, and I remember I kind of put in for a 2-week vacation, sat down for over 8 hours every day working on a business plan for 2 weeks, because I said to myself, like, I'm going to see if I map out a business plan, if it looks like it's a viable business, like maybe I'll consider it. So I did that. I circulated the business plan to some people that I trusted, and kind of, everybody kind of came back and was like, I think there's maybe a business here. And then it was the decision point on, okay, am I going to do this? And, I spent however much time kind of like stewing on it. And then I had the thought in my mind where I said to myself, like, I don't want to be at the end of my life and wonder what if, and
I say that all the time. I don't want to get to the end and be like, I wish I would have tried to see if that worked.
Yeah. And
what a terrible thing to go think about on your last moment.
That and just like the pain of just not being able to turn back time and kind of like replay it,
the one thing that we're all running out of is time.
100%. And so, that made my decision easy for me. So I, made the decision to walk away from a really great job, an incredible pension. I had a lot of people kind of say,
how did that make you feel?
It was discouraging, honestly, like in a few instances, because it was scary, because it was like people who were saying this to me were people that I really trusted and that I valued. And, I genuinely, I later reflected that was in some instances their own securities of like, they could never walk away from their pension. Mm-hmm. I walked away from the pension, and that was really hard. But at the same point in time, that's not what has ever driven me in my career. We all want to be able to pay our bills and have success, but what drives me is feeling the ability to contribute, in a valuable way, and to feel proud of what I'm doing, and to know that what I'm doing has an impact. So, I made the decision to leave my job and leave government, and that was the journey of the start of Black Bow Gift Co.
That's amazing. So, you kind of stole my next question, because I was going to ask you if there was kind of a gap in the market or a pain point that you've seen out there for consumers.
Definitely, yeah.
But obviously there is. So where's your biggest category of customers? Do you find it's more corporate customers? Is it a lot of B2C, B2B?
It's both,
or is it a mix?
It's definitely both, and it fluctuates all throughout the year. Yeah. It's interesting, because it's like if you actually are looking at every order that's kind of coming in, and the nature of the message and who's buying it, like you can really get a sense, is it a B2C or a B2B client? And it's a mix of both, and we have a lot of B2B clients that also do B2C gifting.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and so it really fluctuates throughout the year, and it's a bit of everything. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's just a conversation kind of cued something in my head. I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know why I haven't read. I think I might have read it in the past, but anyway, seems like I haven't based off my memory. But one thing I found that I've learned a lot, and like if you're an employee, I don't mean to offend. Like there's a ton of great jobs out there and great businesses that need great employees. Obviously, being an employee is not for everybody. But I find, I think what holds a lot of people back, based on what I read in that book, is the fear of not having any money. Mm. You know what I mean? Like, I can attest to a little bit of that, because my journey into real estate was a little bit less organic. Well, I guess it was maybe organic in a sense. I got restructured out of the business. So I didn't make this choice completely on my own. I was kind of sitting there like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So in 2020, I got restructured out of my, I was the district manager for Unilever Canada. It was an ice cream business.
Okay.
And anyway, I kind of seen the writing on the wall. It was like, you know, I was the district. First I was a rep, then I worked my way to junior key accounts. Then my boss retired. I kind of absorbed some of his stuff. And then, you know, I was managing like a team of 9 reps, and then it was 7, and then it was 5, then it was 3. And then we had regional Sobeys account managers in a little space in our office for that. And then all of a sudden we didn't have a lease for an office. We're all working from home. And then they started cutting the Sobeys people and moving them to Toronto.
That would have been scary to see kind of all that kind of unfolding.
And like the biggest fear for me was like, you know, I was, you know, this was pre-COVID, so a lot of things have changed since then, and inflation and whatever. But you know, I kind of, you know, I got told my whole life I needed a job, pension benefits, salary, and I kind of had all that, and I thought I fucking made it, for lack of better terms. Yeah. And you know, what I'm kind of getting around at is I can understand why some people may not go for it, because like starting at zero is pretty scary.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate that I had have a great wife, and she was able to float kind of the home in the leaner months, and it allowed me to really go after what I wanted, but I never had the courage or the maturity to just put the salary job away and just go for it. I had to kind of get a little boot in the butt and be like, well, what am I going to do now? And then my wife's like, well, you always kind of liked real estate, so why don't we see if you can do that, and then you'll know if you really like it, because we wanted to buy some investment properties. So the corporate job was kind of like a means to the end for me.
Yeah.
To get what I needed to just not have to work as hard and have kind of something working for me. So anyway, that's a little bit of background on me. So on to the next thing I wanted to ask you about, unless you had anything.
No, but like the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like what's the book about?
Yeah, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is about, and again, I'm not full way through, but the general premise is there's 2 kids. One's dad is a super highly educated, I think he's a professor at a university, does very well. But even though he does very well, his financial literacy is very poor. So they're not like struggling, and they're not poor per se, but the kind of the framework of the book is like some people, the more they make, the more they spend. So they never, you think, oh, I got a big promotion, I make $20,000 more than I used to. A lot of people just spend right back up to the 20, nothing really changes. And so everybody's kind of just like kind of playing keeping up with the Joneses. And I grew up in a place where you kind of see that a lot too. You know, lobster fishermen, they, you know, make a ton of money in 6 months, and it's like all they can do, some of them, to spend it before November starts.
Yeah.
You know, you look at some stuff and like, you know, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't know who watches, but like Dad always said to be careful what people have, because a lot of it's smoke and mirrors and credit, right?
It's funny, my dad says the same thing.
You know, because like Dad was always like, you know, hey, like be humble, don't brag about what you got. And we didn't live like Dad always did well. We're fortunate. We never hurt for nothing. We maybe didn't have all the best stuff, but looking back, we were pretty well taken care of. Like Dad, we played hockey. There was never a complaint over that expense. So anyway, back to the book. One guy or boy has the university professor that's not good with money. And then he tells his dad he wants to learn about money. He's like, well, don't ask me because I don't work for money. Go ask Mike's dad. He does really well, and he's an entrepreneur, so he owned like a bunch of stores and different things. And the idea is, although other buddy's dad said he doesn't work for money, he does, because he's got a salary, and he's always like, it's all centered around how much money, how much they got, how much they're spending. And the other kid, Mike's dad, kind of tries to teach you that if you're working for money, you're always going to be chasing the money. You have to kind of chase like it's like a dream or like an end goal.
Yes. Like
kind of delayed gratification. Yeah. So the first part of the book, he makes the kids work for like almost nothing in one of his stores, like cleaning these like jars, the dust off of jars. And eventually, but guy with the poor dad gets fed up. He's like, man, you're not paying me enough. He's like, He's like, you're cheap, you're a crook, you don't care about your employees. He's like, you sound like every other employee who's ever worked for me. It's always my problem that you don't make enough money.
Interesting.
So it's kind of changing the onus of like, well, if you want to make more, that's on you.
100%. That's actually everything that
Everybody's like this.
Yeah.
Especially today, it seems.
Listen, I say that to my team all the time where I'm like, if everybody wants to do better here, we have to do better.
Yeah.
If we want more things, we have to do better as a business. You know, you can't give what you don't have. But also, like, back to kind of like maybe the message of the book, like, you know, if you're chasing money as an entrepreneur, like, I don't think you'll make it through the early years. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be chasing the dream and staying focused on the vision. And
you can't be
the
keeping
money,
up with the Joneses.
It takes time for the money to...
Just because you made a little bit doesn't mean... I can get caught in these traps. Like, you know, business is going good. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I'd like to buy a new car.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, well, wait. Well, if I buy a new car, I can't buy that apartment building next year. You know what I mean?
And I think it's good to want, like, to have dreams of having certain things that you would maybe want to acquire or kind of purchase. But, you know, like, if those are your dreams and not just because you know, somebody else has it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's,
And the other premise of the book, too, is, and again, I'm not through the whole thing, so, you know, we'll maybe have to have a separate conversation to re-summarize the book. But basically, one of the key things I've come across in reading is, like, a lot of people just collect liabilities instead of, like, assets. And most people don't know the difference.
Yep.
So if you're always increasing your liabilities and you're not really increasing your assets, then your money's not really doing anything for you.
Yep.
And that's where people just get caught in this, like, kind of golden handcuffed life where every time they get a little bump in pay, they just like, oh, well, I can afford this and I can do this trip and I can do that. Or like, oh, I can spend up to this on my credit card now because I can pay this off. So it's just
because it is that mindset of like, okay, I'm working harder because I want that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that tangible kind of like, you
Yeah.
know, sometimes not even really important thing that's going to have value the second you buy it.
Yeah, and I think like the book is also like, you know, it's okay to get those things, but you should be working towards a bigger
Oh, for sure.
goal.
Yeah.
And then those things just become part of it.
Listen, the long-term life planning that we all should be doing for ourselves frequently and often is important because that's where you really can kind of make sure you're always aligned with, you know, what the goals are for, you know, the direction that you're heading.
Yeah, well, my wife is fortunately a rock star. I mean, we just had a baby September 22nd.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and she's amazing. She's healthy, happy. Mom's obviously a little tired, but also healthy and happy. And she kind of does a good job at reeling me in because I'm kind of like, I don't spend a crazy amount, but like relative to her, I'm the spender.
Yeah.
Like she's when we first got together, and, you know, you kind of don't talk much about like money and things when you're first dating, but then like things got serious and then we're talking about getting an apartment and then it was like buying a house. And then that's when stuff like really kicked off financially, talking about money and savings. And like, I had none. She had a ton of money. It made me like, it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
It was very, very much so. I was like, oh my God. I was telling my dad and he's like, yeah, man. He's like, but like as good as Dad did, he was pretty good with money, but it didn't kind of cascade down to us. It was like more like just work really hard and you'll always have a job and you'll be fine.
Oh, I had a dad that like, how much is in your bank account? And he's still like,
yeah. Well, Dad grew up. It's like, oh, we got this much and bills are this much. Oh, we got some left. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no like talk about investing or the markets and well, that was too risky and it's like gambling and it's like, you know, we're just going to lose my money.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, they put a little in and it has a little dip and like, oh my God, we got to take all that out.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, that's down the road pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, it's like, you know, I use the example like Dad often talked about like the 9/11 and the market crash.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh yeah, I lost all that money. And I was like, well, no. If you took your money out, you did.
Yep.
You probably lost 30%. But if you left it in, you would have made that back and some.
Yep.
He didn't really ever tell me what he did, but the latter part of me thinks he might have took some of it out.
Well, I mean, and like that.
But it's like, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I mean, he's good. Like, he's not hurting, but like maybe he could have been in an even better position. It's just fear drives everybody. You know what I mean?
100%, and that like
of losing it all.
It totally does, and that's the value. Like, you know, when I think back to like, I don't know where the stars aligned, and I did the economics degree, and you know, where like it's interesting because I mean the world is crazy.
It's nutty out there.
I haven't had a year in business. I think that, people talk about the good old days. I'm like, I don't even know what that would look like.
Yeah, what is the good old days?
It's everybody talks about it who's like an old time entrepreneur, and I'm like, I never experienced
old boss Rick
it.
Talked about it too.
Yep.
Oh yeah, back in our day, it's like okay,
how easy business was, and I'm like, I haven't had an easy year.
Just throwing money around, talked about.
Yeah, but every time something shifts in the economy, and actually it was interesting. Like the second that COVID hit, like my brain just went like the things that I was thinking were the things that actually played out. And because understanding kind of the economy and like just knowing that everything was going to shut down.
All that background.
Yeah, and I actually when everything shut down, I remember calling my accountant.
Supply, demand.
Yeah, and I said to her, do you think I should really invest in a lot more supplies? Because I don't think I'm going to be able to get them in a couple of months.
Did you buy a bunch of stuff?
I did. Yeah.
Did it save you?
And it did, because you couldn't get anything. And for me,
did you still take a bit of a hit, or did you buy enough you could get through those shitty times of no supply and logistics issues?
I never had an instance where I didn't have the supplies I needed.
That's awesome.
But it was
you really
scary.
Looked ahead.
Because I could see how it was going to play out, right? And everybody, we were very fortunate during COVID. We didn't shut down one day.
Not one.
We weren't obligated to shut down.
Perfect.
And because I was only employee, I had actually team members that ended up having to kind of go and be with their families during, so I was kind of a team of one back then.
Were you just doing it all?
I had team members, but they had to go and be with their families for to be support. They had kids then that were not in school, and they had to,
they had to be there to do their homeschooling or whatever.
They wanted to keep working, but they couldn't be in two places at once. And so, and it was, I guess, because I didn't know what was going to happen. I remember actually calling my dad when they made the announcement that they were shutting everything down.
Scary.
And I said, because he's the first call I would make for any business situation, but
sounds like a good guy to have in your corner.
He's the best. And I remember I called him, and he always has an answer for something, always. And I was like, what do I do? And he was like, I don't know. Because
nobody did, though.
Nobody did. And that's what he's like, I can't even give you advice because I've not been through this myself.
Nobody.
And so because he was clearly in his mindset of how to take care of his businesses, and he was like, just hang tight, this is a day by day thing, and just see what happens, and I guess back then there was a lot already invested in the business, so it was scary times, but
yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy. I mean, it was some of the worst times. Man, I'm so happy we're out of that, and
me too.
But with that comes the world kind of dishes out its other set of problems and stuff.
Always.
So I feel like we're always working through something.
Well, can I tell you a little? It's funny because probably it was past COVID, but I remember it was, I don't know, it was past COVID time. So I was maybe 10 or 11 months into the business journey, and just as COVID was just dishing out more and more challenges and problems and, that you had to just kind of figure out as a business, I remember kind of just getting really frustrated because I love the creative side of the business. And because I was a team of one, I was making the gifts and taking care of the customer service and doing the ordering. I was doing everything. But I really enjoyed the gift making, and it that peace and calm that I had when I was able to connect with a gift, and seeing all the kindness that was going out into the world. I wanted to just make the gifts. I didn't want to deal with any of the problems. And I remember calling my dad, and I was like, I don't know why I can't just focus on my work and make the gifts. And he kind of started laughing at me, and I got frustrated. I'm like, why are you laughing? He's like, if you haven't figured out that running a business is not just dealing with a slew of challenges all day, every day.
You got to mostly deal with the problem.
He's like, you're going to have a long journey. So he's like, get used to it. This is now your new job, is dealing with the challenges. So,
yeah, that kind of leads me into my next kind of little topic is, kind of challenges in the early days. So obviously, excluding COVID, or maybe we can talk a little bit about that, but it sounds like you kind of put some plans in place that you maybe didn't have as many hurdles, but I'm sure there's some.
Oh, yeah.
But could you tell us a little bit about getting a business off the ground running? Sounds like, you're doing a lot of it yourself. What were some of the other big hurdles that you kind of come across that kind of, put a little couple bumps in the road getting this going?
The biggest was, and it was the smartest and I think only choice for me at the time, given kind of what I was willing to invest in the business, and, buying products and supplies and getting a a fancy looking website kind of off the ground, that was kind of where I wanted to put the majority of the investment starting. And so I had to start the business in my house. And as all cool businesses do, they start in their garage. And so that's, the OG spot
I started in my basement.
Yeah. And it's just so fascinating that pretty much most businesses, unless it's a restaurant or something, like they're starting kind of small scale, low risk, as low risk as you can go, I guess.
Yeah. Even Joe Rogan started in his house.
Yeah. So
maybe not for comedy, but for his podcast.
Yeah. So started in the house and started only in the garage. And as the business started to grow, it just kind of kept creeping into more and more rooms in my house. And it
started to absorb itself into your home life.
It was completely in our home life, and we had a secondary kind of location, actually one of my dad's buildings, where we had stored all of our overstock supplies because there was no way that it was going to fit in the house. And so, as the years kind of went by and the business was kind of growing and the team was growing, fitting everybody and everything in the house it was a challenge. So I would say probably about a year and a half into the business journey, it was time to start looking for a place. I didn't want to lease a building, and I didn't want to be kind of under somebody else's control. And so kind of buying a building was the path that I wanted, and acquiring the asset so that was kind of attached to the business as well was the 100%. Path I wanted to take. And so searching for a building became a huge challenge because during COVID there was nothing available. There was nothing, and I had a very strict budget with I had a budget with very strict requirements in terms of what the building had to have and what I wanted it to be. I mean, we're a luxury gifting business, so it had to fit the vibe in the brand. And
for sure.
It took probably over 2.5 years. 2 years for us to find the building that we eventually bought and were able to get. But it was the business got to the point that I actually thought I was going to have to shut the business down if I couldn't get it out of the house because it was just taking over my family's life. And just to have 7-8 people in your home every day and, no privacy and no separation from your work, it was a lot. So that was, I think, the biggest hurdle was, how hard it was to get the business out of the house. And I even got to the point that I was actually considering renting or just getting us into a space just to get it out, even though I knew that was going to be that would have been really risky if we had done that. It would have cost a lot of money and would have taken us away from being able to do other things. So, so that was, I would say, the biggest challenge that I had in running the business. And,
just separating the family work-life balance and finding the right asset to kind of elevate your business to kind of the next level, so to speak.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful because not one complaint from my family the entire time the business was there. They really kind of became part of the business, so to speak, in the sense that, kids would come home from school and they would come down and say hi to everybody, or my parents would stop by and, they're kind of hanging out while we're working. And
sounds like you got a good tribe.
They're very supportive. I can't even begin to express the appreciation that I had for how much just support, and they never put the pressure on me because I was putting the pressure on myself.
Yeah,
so I'm grateful
we're
for that.
Similar in that.
Yes, you got to have a very supportive family, just again to get through those harder kind of entrepreneurial kind of days. So that was the biggest challenge, I would say, that we had early days, and growing too fast even during COVID.
Scaling, yeah.
It was, I learned because
everybody's ordering online now.
It was.
Did it explode?
It did, yeah. And I will say it was hard because I had a lot of guilt, I would say, during those times because I was seeing so many people that I knew and their businesses shutting down. Oh. And to have people that I was buying from and vendors that weren't making it through COVID and sending out their emails.
This is our last order.
Yeah,
and sorry.
Yeah, and on the news.
Meanwhile, you're blowing up.
And it was there was a lot.
Why me?
It was a lot of guilt, and I was working 20-hour days then, and I also had a lot of resentment because I'm seeing on social media people are baking bread and organizing their drawers, and I'm I'm not getting more than 3-4 hours sleep because I couldn't keep up with the workload, and I wasn't willing to let the quality slip. So
it's really I was killing yourself.
I was, and I wasn't a lot there was nobody to help me, So, and I remember my dad said to me actually that, because he gives me pep talks quite often, and he said, you know what, Amanda, the economy needs businesses to be doing well right now.
Of course.
Yeah, and that changed my perspective. You know what I mean? Like that's how, as an economy, we kind of get through challenging times is when there are businesses that are able to do well and to employ people and, to keep purchasing things and keep
Well, if
keep the
everybody
machine
goes
running.
down,
Yeah.
we're all
yeah.
done.
Yeah.
You
So,
know what I mean? Like we needed to make the world go round.
yeah, but I remember learning I just remember learning in business a lot that like reasons businesses fail, like having the wrong staff, like growing too fast. And that never made sense to me because I'm like, that's a good problem to have,
Right,
isn't it?
yeah, I was
You
gonna.
know what I
You
mean?
took
Like,
the words right out of my mouth.
but holy heck, like to be able to scale your processes and maintain your quality and make sure that you're able to, like, because you don't have as much time to do all the things that you would normally do when you have more business to take care of. So that was a really scary thing to kind of experience, and I'm grateful I actually experienced it early on because it has shifted my mindset. Like I operate our business now as if we're a $10 million business. Every process we design, like I filter it through that lens of like we're a $10 million a year business. Like, can we operate this way if we have that much sales?
Yeah.
So it teaches you some things and kind of gets you ahead of the game for the next growth spurt.
Looking out a little bit.
Yeah.
So you don't get jammed up again.
Hopefully, yeah, because those were some very tiresome days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
You make it
short-term
through.
pain, long-term gain,
you get
right?
you get through it, right? Like you do. Like, and that's why when you look back in retrospect now, I'm like, it wasn't so bad. But
Yeah.
I remember just how little sleep I was getting for a very long time, and
Yeah.
but that's what you do. You have to be prepared to like a business is like a living, breathing thing, and
Yeah.
when it needs to eat, you got to feed it. I think it's
100%.
Robert Kovac or something who says that. Like, you got to feed your business when it's ready to eat. So
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. You got just like a baby segment in here.
Yes.
Like, baby's hungry. You got to feed it. Cries. You don't get to sleep. You got to
Nope.
get up. And it's just funny, like you say, like, you struggled really hard, but like, it was worth it.
Yeah.
And it's like, people ask me as a new dad, they're like, they're kind of like expecting me, like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I can't even deal with it. But like, how you doing with less sleep? And it's like, well, I mean, what do you mean? They're like, well, how are you making out? I was like, well, we're surviving. Like, it's good. Like, I think we got a pretty good baby. And like, but like, like I signed up for this, right?
yeah.
Like, it's a welcome tired. Like, I'm happy to be this tired.
Oh gosh, and that's the thing. Like when you're excited about what you're doing, you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have love for your child.
Yeah.
Like you actually will figure it out, and
or
you'll
whatever
push
it
through.
is, whether it's your child, your business,
Yeah.
or whatever. It's like, I always say it I say it all the time, like short-term pain, long-term gain.
Oh, yeah.
Like nothing, any hardship doesn't last forever.
No, it's a season.
It's up to you. You want to see it through and get through that, or you want to quit.
Yeah.
Because there's two types of people. There's people that believe they can and can't.
Yeah.
So if you want to quit, you can definitely do that. If you want to get through it and grow and be what you want to be, I think you can do that too.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of your mindset.
The resilience that you need to have and kind of like acquire and kind of keep working on. It's the one thing that will kind of hold you through.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. It's just the flow of our conversation is really great because it's just bringing me to the next thing.
We're going to circle back on the baby, though, right? I want to hear more about the baby.
Yeah, we'll hear more about the baby for sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I hope so.
We'll get back
Yeah.
there. But, I know in our we've been working together a bit. We usually have a few decent parking lot chats
Yes.
when we meet up. And I know you're a big culture gal because we talked about it. We talked about building the right team culture. So can you tell us a little bit about the culture at Black Bow Gifting Co. and what are some of the things that you do when you're looking to select potentially new employees or the ones that you had and have currently? And what are maybe some of the non-negotiables when you're looking at hiring somebody to ensure you maintain that culture at your business? Because I know just by looking at you how important it is.
Yeah, no.
And the few interactions that we've had about it.
For me, I would say like right now, I'm very much in a focus with our team on making sure that we have like the ambition to do a great job, that we're committed to our goals, and we're demonstrating kind of like the acknowledgement of what we're working towards and what that looks like on the day to day. That we're doing it, with like the courage of not always having the answers. Because like in a small business, like we don't have, that map of like, here's how you do it all.
There's no
and
playbook.
like, there's no playbook. And like, to develop a culture of individuals that are able to be strategic and are aware of kind of what the needs of the business are and kind of how we're able to use the skills across the team to kind of make certain things happen. and really kind of like developing a culture of accountability, right, in the work that we do and the impact that has. So, it's very much like shifting to, and I think I've always had this mindset with the team that it's like I treat the team like they're business owners too, because when you're in a small team, like everybody's effort has impact, and it's either going to hurt you or it's going to help you.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like that's how you actually kind of get over that, like that hump of like that growth journey in the sense of like being able to level up and kind of get everybody to that next level. So, we're a very unique world in the sense that like nobody really kind of comes in with all of the experience that they need to be successful in our world, because it is very unique, and we're kind of creating our own just thing that just, people are not growing up 7, 8 years old and they're like, I'm going to work for a gifting business. It's not kind of like that career.
It's a very unique offering. Like,
it's very unique. And so like even finding and me figuring out over the years, like what are the right skill sets that transition really well into our world and then can kind of grow and develop is something that I'm still learning.
So you're always kind of adapting and molding and shaping what you're looking for. So it's a kind of ever evolving process.
It has to be, right? And like as the business needs change and as the economy changes and as even tools that we have available to us change, like AI, it changes.
Unreal.
It changes what like you're able to do with your team or how you're able to leverage kind of people's skill sets. So
mind-blowing.
It's my brain hasn't even had a chance to kind of catch up, I think, in how much has changed in the last year and a half and how it impacts even our world.
Some of it's terrifying. Exciting and terrifying.
It is, because my brain also wants to know what is it going to be in a year and a half from now, and I don't have the answer to that. So,
because I was just listening to anyway, I love him or hate him. I'm a Rogan fan, and he had Elon.
I listen to a lot of Rogan just by way of being in the car with somebody who is a huge Rogan fan.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Maybe your husband.
Yeah.
Bro Rogan.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, shout out to Joe Rogan. Yeah. But he had Elon, and I
heard that one.
Did you?
Yeah, the recent one.
Talking about AI.
I didn't hear the AI part, but I heard like a good majority of their conversation.
Well, they're kind of talking about AI and if it gets out of control, and like Elon's very vocal about like AI safety.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just want to be clear, guys. Like the Terminator scenario is not a 0% probability.
And
I was like, come again?
Yeah. Do you thank your ChatGPT? I do.
Right? Like I was kind of giving it the gears one day. I was like, you're not doing what I said.
I do too. I'm I don't like it. And then I'm like, but I appreciate it. Yeah.
Now I'm like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Don't kill me in my sleep.
Yeah, seriously.
Right?
But
it's anyway, it's just wild the rate of speed that everything seems to be developing at. Like it's like I bought the Google Pixel 9 XL last year. I was like, all right, perfect. I got the latest Pixel.
Yep.
Well, the 10's out.
It doesn't take long.
Before, I used to remember it'd be like 2 or 3 years before they released something. Now it's everything across the board, every year, new model, little tweak, just so they can sell it. And people buy it.
Yep.
It's nuts.
Yep. So it's great. Yeah, it's changing very fast, and the benefit that it can have in the business is like it's ginormous. Yeah. But like
I think they say AI is going to make more millionaires in the next like 5 or 10 years than the .com bubble did.
I believe it.
How do I get on that train?
Yeah, I know. I mean, with the amount of hours I work, sometimes I say the same thing where I'm like, there's got to be an easier way, but no.
I'm sure there's some way to kind of automate or, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will. I mean, you just keep grinding and you will eventually.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only way you don't is if you quit.
Yep.
That's the only way.
Yep.
That's the only one defining difference that I've been able to find in people that make it and don't is quitting.
And it's if you think back on the things that maybe you did give up on like throughout your life, it's like that what if I kept going? What could have happened?
But I mean, and I'm not saying you can't quit anything.
I agree.
If it's not a fit, pivot into something else. But pivot. Don't just be like...
But quitting because you're scared or just you don't think you can do it.
I'm scared of everything.
Yeah. We like a lot of us can be prone, me included, like to self-sabotage where you just kind of fall a little bit short.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
It's, I think it's human nature, like almost to like believe, I don't know, maybe it's society.
Yeah, but even sometimes it could even be like you've got that like imposter syndrome You know what I mean? Where you don't feel like you kind of like you fit in or you belong, and so you just don't do it.
For the first, I'll be honest, like for the first couple of years, getting into real estate, I used to make a joke. I'd sit with my mentor once I got a little bit of traction. I was like, oh, I'm like a real boy now. Like, I'm actually a realtor. Like, because at first, I might have had a few clients I'd show houses to, but I could feel that I didn't look confident.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I didn't deserve to even be doing it because I haven't had any success. But like, how are you supposed to get success if you don't try?
Got to start somewhere.
But in my brain, I'm like, I don't even deserve their business because I'm not even a realtor.
Yeah.
And like, fast forward almost 5 years, and like, everything's great.
Yeah.
But like, those first couple of years, man, like I was like, man, I don't know.
The imposter syndrome can be hard.
Maybe I'm not this guy. Maybe I'm just pretending.
Yeah.
But then it's just kind of funny. Like, you have the right people and the support, and they're like, no, you're gonna make it. And it's like, I was like, how do you know? Like, what makes you so confident in me when I can't even find my own confidence inside me to like push through this? Because I'm not a very I grew up lobster fishing, very blue collar, like men don't have feelings, they don't cry, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was tough, to come from that kind of mindset or upbringing to believing in yourself. I don't know. It's just, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but confidence wasn't there for sure.
You have to be your biggest cheerleader in all things in life, I think, and like the times where maybe you're noticing that you're not, like me included, it's interesting to really kind of dissect those things and kind of understand but when you then listen to all these billionaire business guys, and I don't know if you've ever signed up for masterclass, like the masterclass sessions that you can listen to with, it's like all the big business guys and famous. It's amazing. Actually, I think I have a friend kind of invite I can send. So,
oh wow,
and it's just incredible because you hear these people tell their stories and and they're like, I had no idea what I was doing, and everybody is in that same situation.
Yeah, some people's it was the difference of eating or not eating, or paying their mortgage, or foregoing on their house, or some crazy it was my last dollar, or I think of you probably know who Cam Hanes is too, and
I don't know.
Oh, he's on Rogan all the time. He's a ultra marathon runner, professional bow hunter.
Okay, I follow a lot of ultra marathon runners, so sometimes I get some of their names confused. But
he's just talking about how he's spending he mortgaged part of his house or leveraged part of his house to get this tag to go elk hunting for what?
Yeah.
He's trying to be a hunting influencer on Instagram. Essentially, it's you're putting up your family's well-being to go kill an elk to put it on the internet.
He believed, though, right?
Well, and look at him now.
And that's
you have retired.
To be, you have to be crazy enough to believe your own dreams. Because I'm I see the dream of Black Bow and what we can become, and the status as a gifting business in the Canadian market that I believe that we can kind of have. So I
just had it. Do you think that maybe people generally don't believe they can?
Yes.
Because most people tell them they can't because they don't want them to achieve anything greater than they have.
I
think some people?
Yes, I do. And I think sometimes it's not even putting effort into thinking okay, if that's my goal, what would I need to do to get there? And just sometimes not even just knowing how to get there. It's I can't do it. And it's well, it's kind of with me. I was I had a business idea, and I'm let's just map out a business plan and see if I could.
Yeah, throw some stuff against the wall.
And it's and so I think it's if you learn to break it down and develop it step by step, you eventually kind of get there. It's how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Right. You
one
really,
bite at a time.
You do. And if
Where'd you hear that?
Oh, amazing people that I worked with back in government, because we would have these massive projects.
Save that one.
Yeah, it's the best one, actually. I think I use it with my team quite often.
Yeah.
And, it's when you have massive projects and things that just feel so unattainable, or it's how could we ever? It's map out a plan.
Small attainable goals.
Small attainable goals. And as a project manager, it's people always would say well, how did you figure out how to start the business? I'm I just made a project plan.
Just started.
And literally every task was assigned to me, and I just one by one I got things done. So I think
one day at a time.
Not believing in yourself, or I think it is just the lack of awareness of how would you do it?
Right.
And therefore you just kind of shut the idea down. So
yeah, because sometimes you have this big, arduous goal in your head, and you're like, "This is what I want," and then you sit there and like, "Oh my God, that's like how am I even going to get there?"
Yeah.
And then you're like, "You know what? It's too big.
yeah,
Table it.
Yeah.
Not going to do it." Meanwhile,
or it's going to be too hard,
right. But like you said, one bite at a time, one goal at a time. How do we get, if it's the super big goal, maybe break it down 10.
Yep.
Just 10 steps. How
break
do we
it
start?
down. Yep.
And then maybe if those are too big, you can chop some of them up. And then once you can see, I find the problem with people, or at least for me, it's like seeing the progression.
But if you have a plan and you're like, okay, I achieved that step, that one's good. You know what I mean? Or it's like, okay, I didn't achieve that one. I'm stuck here. Got to get through this one to then get to the next one.
Yeah, because the biggest challenge for real estate was like a lot of the upfront work doesn't pay out until maybe the end of the year, maybe 2 years.
You're planting
maybe
your
some
seeds.
people you meet, maybe they'll call you in 3.
It's a lot of our
if you're
business
doing
too.
the right thing. You know what I mean? So you never really know if all this upfront work's going to pay out, and I think that's where people lose it, or at least that's where I would struggle.
Yeah.
It's like, well, holy shit, I'm doing all this work. I feel like I'm killing myself, and I'm still starving.
Well, they call it the seed planting. Because
Yeah.
you're planting the seeds and you don't see anything come up
I'm
for
like,
a while.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, and we're ruined. Like, social media, I think it's good and bad. I think after we got beyond sharing pictures and then we could comment on things and share opinions, I think we lost it there. But from a business standpoint, I think it was positive.
Yeah.
But like on the flip side, it's just like, oh, look at my new house. Look at my nice business that I'm running and it's doing really well. And look at this listing I got. And look at this nice trip I brought my family on. Meanwhile, they don't see the crying in the corner while you don't know where your next check's coming from or if you're going to be able to pay your rent or your mortgage or your whatever. Everybody's just like, oh, wow, look at this guy. Look at this girl. Look at all this stuff. Meanwhile, no struggle. We should normalize putting some struggle on there. And that's why I try and be as open as I can on here. Because, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. And the people that sell that to you are lying.
Yeah, and I think it's a hard balance, I guess, for a brand, right? Because, I completely agree that, I resonate a lot in listening to stories that are the real stories. I'm like, I don't need to see the success stories because that's not what's driving. I know I want to hear, how did you get through all those challenges and what were your best days and your worst days and just because, again, you just are able to kind of measure very quickly, okay, yeah, no, that seems, I'm kind of going through some similar things, right? It's it's why we resonate with our peers because we can kind of
sharing.
I'm like, my brain's splitting into so many different directions right now, but
happens all the time.
oh gosh, no, and but I'm more the social media stuff, and I think I've been lucky because it's yes, we have our business social media, but I've never been the forefront of putting myself out there, and I guess I kind of battle with it all the time because I'm I don't think I need to do that. Our brand isn't me, our brand is our brand.
It's different. I'm the brand,
and that's it's
a little bit more anxiety inducing because it's my face everywhere, and I'm on all the friggin' platforms, and I'm talking to a bunch of people. So it's
I think you guys are so brave, and actually, because I see your the videos that you do just pop up on my social, and I always think I'm very informative, Chris. Good job, because the information you're putting out there is actually people are going to get value out of that, right? It's the tips and tricks that people are I didn't know that, and that's going to help me save some money on my house, or know.
That's the goal, and I put it out there oftentimes, and I don't even really think about I'm putting it. It's I need to do it, but then I don't even think how many people are actually watching it.
Yeah,
because to me it's only okay.
But if you're doing it with that always as your focus, now mind you, you want things to grow and traction and things to take off, and I guess everybody kind of wants to figure out how to make those those videos go viral. Actually, funny story, because I don't use social media for myself, really. It's hard to kind of
I wouldn't
I'm
either
not
if I didn't have to.
Yeah, and will that change in the future? I don't know. But for right now, I guess I didn't grow up in a social media world. So when I'm, I think back to early Facebook days, I used to laugh because I'm nobody cares what I'm having for supper, because it was those were the kind of things people were posting, right?
I know.
But I on my personal Instagram, I remember we were going away on a trip to Australia, and I was there's people who want to see our trip, and I'm going to post some photos and stuff. And I had posted a photo, and I remember the next morning, I posted a video when we were at Steve Irwin's zoo.
Oh, man,
With the crocodiles.
Yeah.
And the next morning I woke up and there was like 60,000 views on the video or something. And I was like, this is my account that has like 20 of my friends following it.
Amazing.
And I remember the first person I messaged was my social media gal who like manages our social media for the business. And I'm like, well, so I guess to go viral, you just got to put a crocodile in your video. Anyways, the video ended up getting over 100,000 views.
That's
and
crazy.
I'm like, I guess you just put a crocodile in your video and it's going to go viral. So
I have to come for some tips.
Well, I mean, that's the best tip I have.
You got any crocodiles at the shop?
You know what? It was the video that I had posted. I think it was because it was the suspense of like the crocodile coming out and like the trainer was in the water and people were probably like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, maybe you'll get eaten.
Nothing happened.
Right.
I mean, it was just like the normal show on a Tuesday kind of thing, right? But
Crikey.
Yeah, but it just took off. So I don't know. Yeah, social media is a weird thing, but it's necessary for how we run our businesses and how people kind of want to check you out and see what you're all about. You know what I mean? And yeah, you guys are at the forefront of your brand for sure.
Yeah, and we're all like battling for our own little piece of the pie and trying to differentiate ourselves and like provide as much value as we can over the next person to get the next, it's a
But
whole
you know
thing.
what I find though, like, and maybe it's, when you see people putting content out that personally, to me it always resonates when people are just themselves.
I try and be as
your
authentic
videos,
as possible.
it's who you are. You know what I mean? Like you don't see a different version of Chris when you're doing your videos.
I hope not.
No.
I appreciate that feedback too, because I just want to show the whole idea. I guess Amanda, to talk a little bit about that is I want people to be able to sample me before they're even right in front of me.
And you give them a great insight into that.
Here's some free info. I got a website, chris-crowell.ca. I got a ton of first-time buyer guides, seller guides, information on there from the process, about working with me. And it's just like, I want to give you all the information because I had a ton of questions when I bought my house. Mm-hmm. And I just nothing to do with Buddy that we use, but it was just like kind of knew him from the gym. Said like, hey, I'll help you buy a house. I didn't interview anybody. I didn't really ask any questions. Then I felt like I didn't know enough about real estate that if I asked too many stupid questions, you just think I'm dumb.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that caused me to kind of not really ask enough. And it kind of, not that we got in a bad spot. We got a great house.
Yeah.
Really enjoy it. We're renovated top to bottom. Love it. Starting to run a little bit out, maybe run out a little bit of space. But anyway, we'll work through it. Yeah. But I just wanted to give people the opportunity. I looked at it from the lens of what did I want and what did not get?
Yeah.
And it was, a lot of information, not unanswered questions.
So
I just want to put it all out there for free. You don't have to talk to me. You don't have to call me, email me. It's all there between all my accounts and my website. You can probably learn top to bottom about, buying a house.
And you probably give that experience to people when you're showing them houses too, in terms of giving your opinion on things.
Absolutely.
And that's hugely valuable. Of all the homes that I've ever looked at, you want somebody who's there who's going to be, giving you insight into how they would handle a situation or how much something might cost to fix.
Picking stuff apart, oh no, we gotta go back on that or ask about that.
Oh yeah.
No, we gotta negotiate this. The roof's too close to getting end of life. We need a little.
You need a partner, right?
Yeah.
And that's
instead
good. That's
of
great
here,
service.
look at the house. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to buy it? I'll show you another one.
And that's the difference between. I always say we want to at Black Bow we want to offer service as if you're on a luxury yacht.
Yeah.
We want it. That's how we want it to feel.
Sure.
We're not handing out kind of cocktails and those sort of things, but you want to know what people's preferences are.
100%.
You want to get ahead of a question before they ask it because you're sensing maybe a little bit of hesitation or confusion.
Body language, yeah.
Totally. You're reading kind of that circumstance so that somebody isn't kind of in that awkward position where they might not ask.
Yeah.
And then they don't have the information and then therefore they're going to kind of make a decision kind of based on that. So yeah, you really you want to be able to offer that top tier customer service for your clients because they're going to trust that you're taking care of them.
I mean,
And
what else am I offering?
it's going to feel good,
You know
right?
what I mean? What else can I offer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you could here's the house. You know what I mean?
But that just wouldn't. I can't.
Yeah,
but
that's not you. And you just nailed it in the sense of I say this all the time to the team, that is like, I feel like I can sleep very well at night knowing that we offer a very high level of service and an amazing product.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, you feel good about your work when you know that what you're producing, but it's not how businesses operate anymore.
No.
It's rare to find businesses and I think service people who really, really take pride in the quality and the level that they're kind of bringing their value to the table, right?
100%.
So
Find us a lot of like, it's all about me and not so much about the end user.
Yeah, no,
which
and
is unfortunate. Not everybody.
No. But you can feel really good about your work when you know that you're offering a great service and that it's having a positive impact on people's lives. You know,
100%.
Yeah.
So when I get feedback like that, it makes every piece of content easier to make.
Yeah, and like I love it because it's funny. I'm not like I would say the most insightful or I guess informed of things I need to do to take care of my house all the time. I know enough to take good care of it, but sometimes there's just like
Stuff slips
things
through the cracks.
because I think I saw one recently about cleaning your gutters, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, geez, I don't know when the last time I did that was.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
and it just can be things like that unless somebody kind of asks you or, you know what I mean, you're in a bad situation with it, then you're maybe not thinking about it. So,
100%.
You know,
life's busy.
even something like that where it's like,
Yeah,
you know.
it's not even about really selling the house or buying the
No.
house. It's like,
Yep.
oh, I should probably maintain. There's something about maintenance or whatever.
And then it gets your brain thinking. Somebody like
Yeah.
me, I'm like, what else am I not thinking about that I
Right.
should be?
Yeah,
you
clean
know?
your heat pump filters.
So maybe I got to watch some more. Yeah, and actually, you know what? That was something that's been on our to-do list this week because of a comment that somebody else made when I was getting my ducts cleaned in the building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he said he actually because I was saying like, do you do home ones too? And he's like, with the type that we have, he was like, no, it wouldn't be me. And he said, do you know how much it's going to cost to clean it if it's not been taken care of? And I was like, no. And you know, I'm in my mind, I'm like $1,200 or something. He's like, no, like $8,000. I was like, okay,
Wow.
better make sure I'm
That's
taking
for
care of that.
Your business system?
No, for my home.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, for
well,
my
he
heat.
might mean that's like a whole new system.
Well, and he said to clean it, and I was like, that just seemed.
No, I think you just keep putting the fear in you.
I passed it over to Dan and said, you better take
yeah.
care of this because we better not have an expense in the future. So,
Yeah, well, we've used Breathe Clean a couple times, and they seem to be pretty good. They're just a dedicated cleaning company, comes in, clean it, and seems to be great.
Yeah,
So,
no.
it's supposed to do like every 3 months. You're supposed to clean the filters on the head if you have a ductless heat pump. Sorry, I should know that.
Yep.
I get mixed up sometimes. And then the exterior unit, I think they say you're supposed to do it every year.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, like I didn't do the exterior ones for a while.
No, I've seen people clean them online though. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like I know how to do it, but
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
No.
It'll blow up on me or something.
Well, yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
No.
Or I'll
Get the
not blow up in
professionals.
the sense that it's gonna hurt me, but like I'd ruin it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I can figure stuff out, but I'm not an HVAC guy. I call my cousin for that.
See, this is where you put the smart part of your brain on where you're like, if that's the risk I'm up against, I better get a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's lots of them out there. So
100%.
Yeah.
It's kind of knowing your ability. But listen, I know you're a busy gal. I know it's Friday. But I really like that conversation, and I really appreciate the feedback. I guess the last one here, I just kind of wanted to go through kind of what would be some of the most fulfilling parts of running your business, being an entrepreneur, and do you have any big plans coming down the pipe? And perhaps like maybe, especially, in terms of female entrepreneurs, is there any advice, or entrepreneurs in general?
Yeah.
But being a female leader, if you had any advice to people that are maybe thinking they want to start something, but they're a little apprehensive to get going, like what would you tell these people?
Okay, that's a lot of questions, so you might have to remind me of
Sorry,
them.
yeah.
No, that's okay. But I'll start with like
the fulfilling part.
The fulfilling part. 2 is getting to see the team grow. Because when the team is building their skill and they're developing, and you see them kind of moving through those journeys of, I don't think I can do it, to then they're rock stars at it. It's the most fulfilling part. I mean, it was something that I loved back in my government days of like just seeing people grow and investing your time and your skills that you have into people and how it can kind of pay off and impact their life. So like that to me is, I think, one of the most fulfilling parts. And it's like you see your business becoming healthier when that happens too, because it's something that then I'm able to take that task and be able to delegate it to somebody on my team, and that I'm able to kind of go back to the things that I do really well.
Yeah.
So that to me, I think, is the most fulfilling, and just seeing kind of the pride and the, the reflection that because we talk about it, right? Like when you see somebody kind of get over that hurdle, and it's like, you did that.
Nice.
And
Cheer
they're
them
like,
on.
yeah, I did. And like being able to kind of like celebrate that together. I've got 2 of my team. One has been with me for 5 years and one's been with me for over 4.
Wow.
And, just like those 2, just seeing the growth journey that they've been on, like it's remarkable, and it's just something that we were actually kind of having a moment this morning because one of the teammates, we've been working on something for quite a while, like about a year and a half, and just where this teammate has been able to like get that task and, what we've been working on too. It's remarkable. And so we kind of had a moment of celebration and reflection and cheering that team member on. And, it's like, that's going to feel good for people at the end of the day. And that's what
the
you
little
want.
wins, the
The little wins. I would say
they add up to a bigger one.
They totally do. The other fulfilling thing for me is the client relationships that I've been able to develop. And, like so many of my clients have actually turned into friends. And like people that I enjoy having like very like business to personal kind of conversations with in the parking lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like,
I love that part of it too.
It's my most favorite part. And like just being able to like figure out how I'm able to help somebody else be successful in their industry by way of what we do. And
talking in my case, like I caught myself like, I'm going to customly curate all these gifts for my clients and I'm going to make it memorable so they know and remember me. And next thing I'm like behind on closing gifts. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. Because we got to lean on the experts.
And I can't just not get them something.
No.
And then it's like, hey, well, I'm good at the house stuff.
Yep.
Amanda's good at the gifting stuff. Or at least I found you guys.
Yeah,
and I was like, all right, well, I need to give this a go. And then I don't know. I got in there and I just seen the operation. I was like, no, this is what we need.
Yeah, and that's what you do. You really have to like appreciate like you're a busy person. You've got very limited time. You've got to make sure you're carving out the time to do the things that you do well, and that's going to grow your business and your brand, and save the things that you don't have as much time for or the skill set for. To people who are going to help you out and make you look good, right? Because that's our job is to make you look good,
and
right?
You're definitely doing it because like people love the gifts.
Yeah. Because they're thoughtful.
100%.
You really...
They love the bacon jam.
It's a conversation starter always.
Yeah. Shamelessly ate the whole sample you give me with a box of crackers.
There's no shame in that. Home. No shame.
I just ate it. I was like, I think my wife only had like 1 or 2, and I don't know, I was watching YouTube, and the next thing it was gone. I was like, oh my God.
You got to test the goods, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that's the other thing too. Like, we sat down, I tested everything you put in there, and kind of ran stuff by me. I got all my brand, and now I got 5 closings. Okay, order, and in a couple of days they're like, hey, come get it, or we can ship it to you if you want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, boom. And usually I like to just come in, and I like to touch base.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's nice.
Have a chat.
Yeah, so that's my favorite, like my 2 favorite parts, seeing the team grow and getting to have like great relationships with clients and, like meeting new people. Like, I think that's like the magic of the universe and what is fulfilling for me. But
and I think the money comes as a product of that.
That's what you hope, I mean? Right? Like that's the goal is always that it's going to, like
that comes with the you take care of everything else.
Yeah.
The paycheck or the money or what, the main thing that makes the world go around comes, Yeah. But if that's your only focus, I think you lose sight of what's most important.
100%. Yeah. But it like on the female kind of like entrepreneurship side, I think when I was starting my business, I was listening to a lot of like just female entrepreneurship podcasts and, just trying to kind of like soak up all the knowledge that I could on things that I knew I was going to have to learn. And I mean, I went from a project management kind of background, in government to never having touched or managed an inventory, never owning a website, to never, like having to deal with shipping or, like everything was completely new. I had 0 experience in my history of my career ever doing anything that we did apart from the client service part, because project management, a huge part of it is managing your stakeholders. So I never had, just soaking up as much information as I could from a network perspective. And at the time, I guess I would say like I wasn't aware of many networks that weren't just kind of like big business groups, and kind of going back to like maybe, feeling like what were we like feeling like an imposter.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to rock up to these business groups, and I'm not even like an official entrepreneur yet. I'm just,
Says
kind
who?
of trying. Well, I mean, I was trying to make it happen, right?
Trying's part of the
Sure,
journey, though,
it
right?
is, yeah. But what I would say is, like that, I think I have recently actually become WEBE certified, which is the business women business and enterprise certification, and so
Oh,
it's
awesome. Is that local
it's
or is
not
it
it's national, and so
national?
it's an organization that really it's a certifiable kind of like diverse supplier organization that just really kind of like backs and supports women entrepreneurs and that community is incredible. I'm like, I wish I found this community kind of years ago because
Yeah.
it's a bunch of women business owners and, who have just been through it all. And they're just willing to give you their time and their advice. And, they have lots of kind of groups and events that, bring people together. And,
Nice.
there's just so many kind of women throughout that organization that are also trying to always connect people together that they think could help each other out. So to have that kind of like operating kind of on the side for you and, like that's just, I think it's going to be a game changer for our business being part of this network and having that certification as a diverse kind of women business. But
Because you guys, you're woman led
yeah,
and you're
fully
fully
owned,
female staff.
fully female staff. Not to say that we wouldn't ever change that. It's just that's the team
I
complement that
wasn't
we
going to
have
bring it
right
there,
now.
but yeah.
No. And people do ask me. They say like, "Will it always stay?" And I said, "No." Like,
Somebody fits the mold that is a
yeah,
man, maybe. But
completely right. Yeah. So, but no, I think it really is just about finding people who can kind of help give you that extra little bit of advice or cheer you on when you need a little extra cheering,
For sure.
And I've been lucky that I've got a pretty strong network kind of within my family and, that's just, they've got a lot of great business knowledge. And so, I lean on them when I've got hard questions and decisions to make and I've got full trust. And I would say like, I think for anybody in business, regardless if you're a woman, it's like finding a network of people that you trust. It's
Yeah.
the that you can really kind of like confide in and
Your foxhole, so
you
to
have
speak,
to
if you know
have,
what that
yeah,
means.
yeah, you really have to have
Yeah.
that. And like, because it can get scary at times.
It's
And,
terrifying.
like you have to be able to kind of like lay it all out on the table and just get some advice and see what people think. And then obviously ultimately make your own decision. But, yeah, I think that there's a lot of resources out there. I think the Center for Women in Business, in Nova Scotia, like they're an excellent resource. And I remember, just kind of having conversations with different organizations and Invest Nova Scotia, when I started just to see what was out there in terms of what you can acquire. And holy heck, there's a lot out there. There's a lot that you can kind of access to be able to help grow your business and grant opportunities, through the government and that sort of thing. So just kind of getting out there and kind of connecting yourself with just the different groups that can help further connect you quickly,
Yeah.
and like save a lot of time, I think ultimately. So
Yeah.
just knowing where your resources are, I guess, and just building a strong network around yourself. And I think that's, it's something that I didn't do early on because I thought that the recipe for success was just being really good at what you did, and now I'm really learning, like, I've got to get myself out there. I've got to be networking a little bit more. I've got to be, having conversations because it's so fascinating when you open yourself up to a new conversation with a new person who has different ideas.
Be
Just
life altering.
it can spark so many amazing things.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the old adage they say like your network is your net worth, right? And
Yeah.
it's not always what you know. Sometimes it's who you know or the groups you're a part of, or
Yeah.
so it's not always like I feel like oftentimes like you say like I think we always fall on like it's on me. It's just me.
Yeah.
Like I need to do it, but nobody's really done anything on their own.
They have
Everybody's
not.
learned from somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe like I don't know, just not to get religious, but like Adam and Eve, maybe they figured it out on their own. But after that, everybody learned from somebody else. You know what I
It's
mean?
true. Yeah. And I would say I definitely was naive in the early days to think that like if I just put my head down, I'm going to figure this out. And like
Maybe,
but not really with the type of business we are. As sales came in, I couldn't make all the orders, and you know
Right.
what I mean. Like you really do have
There's a
to
threshold.
eventually. There's a threshold, and the same kind of goes with then. Like we're an e-commerce business, so like being found is not easy. in the e-commerce world. Like it's not, we have a physical space, but, most of our business is outside of Nova Scotia. And so, people they're not driving by our building,
Right.
And who are buying from us outside of Nova Scotia. So, you really do have to, and these are the things that I'm learning. And, it's hard because you have to then make time to step away from your operations and running your business to then.
How do we get discovered? How do we increase visibility, awareness?
Yeah. And I used to think that networking was, having coffee dates with people and chitty-chatting about things that, could be a bunch of things. And it sometimes is a little bit of that. And, but I think if you align yourself with the right people, it's always going to be time well spent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was a great answer to that segment of questions. Before we wrap up, any big plans? I know we're the holiday season, so do we, obviously if anybody needs their gifting, whether it's businesses, families, like obviously Black Bow Gifting Co.
Black Bow Gift Co.
Gifting. Oh man, I keep messing it up, I swear.
You know what? Like the way that it's
you
written.
You have to charge me extra next
oh my
box.
gosh. No. It's name.
My brain.
The name is supposed to rhyme and roll off the tongue,
Black Bow
Black Bow Gift Co.
Black Bow Gift Co.
Yeah.
Black Bow Gift Co.
People will say Black Bow Gift Company, and I'm like, no, it's Co. Yeah.
Because they assume.
Yeah.
You're not right.
Oh yeah, I'm not offended by that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Amanda.
no, that's okay. Oh my gosh,
so much stuff in my brain.
No, I hear you.
I'm trying to remember it all.
I hear you.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So aside from that, any big things coming down the pipe?
Just continuing to work on growing the business. Like we're a year and a half in our new space. Like we've got a lot of big goals for, to finish up this year, but entering into next year, there's some new things that we want to get into and just to be developing the business in some pretty unique ways. Like we're looking to be the game changer in the gifting world. And so we're not looking to be like anybody else. We're looking to pave a new way of what great gifting can look like. So a lot of the same stuff we're doing, but some new cool stuff that we hope to be diving into next year. So
all right. Well, we'll have to stay tuned to see what that is. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on. I've been looking forward to this chat for a while because every time we get together and we have a chat, it's almost podcast worthy in the parking lot. So
listen, it's been awesome, and I appreciate you being gentle on me for my first podcast. So
you're great. You're amazing.
I appreciate it. This was fun.
You're very welcome. So I'll let you get back out to your day. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
And we'll be in touch soon.
We're going to talk about that baby.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.